We're going to talk about video games today. The one in question being Resident Evil 4 Remake. This is a game that is all the buzz right now. Everybody's raving about how high quality it is, and I gotta say, I'm on the hype train. I've never played Resident Evil 4. I've actually only played 7 and 8. Those were phenomenal games. Those were my entryway into the series, and I'm really excited to go back and play all the other remakes because this one really sold me on it. I had to buy it, I had to check it out, see what everybody was talking about, and I was not disappointed by the entire experience. First run through the game was about 17 hours. I've never played something that was so fine-tuned. It gives you just enough content to keep yourself alive throughout your playthrough, and if you die, you can readjust and then go back and tackle that scenario a different way and see how you can get through. There's just so much different experimentation you can do with the gameplay mechanics here, and it's just really rewarding to play. I think Resident Evil 4 Remake and Elden Ring are two of the games that have really been good examples of how to ease you into a more challenging combat loop, especially if you suck at video games like myself. I played this on the normal standard difficulty and it was still a decent challenge. And even when I tried to change the difficulty, I just couldn't do it. I loved the addicting gameplay loop that the provides you. The game holds nothing back. You're opening in the village. You're kind of just thrown out there and you don't really know how to tackle it, and I found that really frustrating at first, but once the gameplay loop really clicked for me, I totally understood what we were going for here. I could totally see how this translated into like the Nazi zombies game mode from Call of Duty World at War. There's just so much influence in this game, and it's really cool to see how this carried over to just the current state of gaming as it is. I think a lot of people are right when they say that gaming wouldn't be what it is today without this original, and the fact that you can remake it and fine-tune that original game and literally create like a masterpiece that this is really just shows how solid that first game was. This is all just a fine-tuning of that first one, and it really just stands on its own two legs as its own game. The characters all fit really well into the story, and any of the retcons or any of the changes really just suit the whole flow of the game. Did some research into kind of the differences between the two, and I'm really curious to go back and play that original and just kind of compare the experiences and see where the improvements lie firsthand. God, I love the game so much. Like I said, the gameplay feeds you just enough content to keep you alive, and you really have to get familiar with your environments. Stealth is an option this time around, and it's much more challenging than you think it would be. A lot of games these days rely on like a sight system thing like the Assassin's Creed Eagle Vision. That's not here. You have to actually like be very, very careful with what you're doing. So the game really encourages you to take your time, hence kind of the slower movement. You take your time with your shots and you will be rewarded. I remember one sequence where I was just struggling to land a shot. I was running out of ammo. I took a second, I breathed, and I aimed, and I got the shot. But it's just that type of gameplay reward is just addicting. Like I said, the characters all fit really well in here, and Leon's a great character. I'm a big animation freak. I love when games have really smooth, fluid, realistic animations, and this is some of the best animation work I've seen in a video game, and it really forces you to use every little mechanic, and no gun is just a waste of time or money. Everything has a place. Now, I think what really hooked me on this game was the fact that I'd already played Resident Evil Village, a game that is very heavily inspired by this one. I could totally see the parallels, and I understand why people have felt like their faith was restored in the series with Resident Evil Village. I mean, even it was kind of that way with Resident Evil 7. That was a phenomenal game. I remember playing that one in VR, and it was kind of terrifying. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what the VR option for this one would be, because there's a lot of replayability here. There's just so many different ways to customize the experience for yourself. I literally have no complaints with it. There's nothing here that I didn't think worked. The game warrants its price right out the door. The graphics are phenomenal. The gameplay is so tight. The story is engaging. The characters are good, and nothing overstays its welcome. Enemy designs are so creative and fun. There's these walking suits of armor. Those are fucking creepy as shit. The game gets really tense, and I love that facet of it. The gunplay is so solid. I love the shotguns in this. I'm really looking forward to trying out the Mercenaries mode for this game, which just released, and seeing how that kind of improves my skills with the combat, and then kind of see how that carries over to like the hardcore mode. With my new game plus, I really want to go back and explore just every little corner of the game world, which I was trying to do, but I was just so hooked on the rest of it. The game really nails the exploration elements. It's just a really rewarding, fun game to play. This is how gaming should be. Even if DLC ends up not being free, this is such a strong package. This is such a worth your $70, and I highly recommend picking it up. Those are my thoughts on Resident Evil 4 Remake. I thought it was phenomenal. Kind of like like Dead Space Remake, which is just another classic, and we wouldn't have Dead Space Remake if it weren't for Resident Evil 4, so it's kind of like we came full circle here. We got both games in one year, and they're phenomenal, and it just shows the power of that gameplay loop and how influential Resident Evil 4 was. Every single game these days kind of takes something from that original game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What did you think about this game? Did you pick it up? Do you remember playing the first one when you were, younger? Is that something that you have fond memories of, or did you never really click with it? I'd love to know down in the comments. And yeah, I look forward to playing the rest of the remakes. I think this game is phenomenal, and I feel like I've missed out my whole life. This is kind of a beginner's take on Resident Evil 4, and if you have never played the game, if you're curious of picking it up, highly, highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. Thanks.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?